Well, I grew up with parents that were Buddhists, so I never really was introduced to God then, but I always prayed. I always felt really good when I prayed, and I felt like when I prayed somebody was listening, and I've always been a very hope-filled, positive girl, and I've always been very dreamy, and I feel like there's something very magical that happens when you have love in your life, whether it's love with your parents or love for what you do or love that happens between other people. And so I think that just planted that seed of faith in me. When I started growing up, I started learning to start noticing different things that would happen in life that weren't accidental, like meeting somebody and a great thing would happen about it. So I literally prayed to God, and I told him, okay, God, if you're really real, then make something happen so that I can see that you're really working in my life. Show it to me. At that time, my mom and I had a major falling out, and we were going 6 years not talking. She cheated on my dad. I was really, really pissed off at her. I wasn't talking to her for a really long time. So I heard all this stuff about Jesus and how he forgave even the worst people who were the biggest enemies to him. And I said, okay, God, if you could really melt my heart and really make me authentically forgive my mom, sold, I'm yours. I hadn't talked to my mom in 6 years. We couldn't even stand in the same room together. Literally that night when I went to bed and I woke up with the image of my head lying in my mom's arms, on her bosom, like I was 2 years old. And I woke up and I was like, okay, that's weird, because I was 24 years old. There's no way that would happen again. And all of a sudden, I felt this really incredible urge to go in to talk to her. And ever since she cheated on my dad, I never wanted to talk to her or have anything to do with her at all. But it was different. I really wanted to go and see her. So that feeling was when I woke up in the morning, around 9, all day. It kept bothering me until finally around 4 p.m. that night, I was like, I can't sit anymore. I'm gonna go talk to my mom. Drove down from San Francisco to San Jose, knocked on my mom's door, walked in into her house, and basically we both had just an all crying fest about what had happened, why she did what she did. And she told me everything that she told me before about why she had cheated on my dad, why she made the decisions she did to break our family apart. But I realized that I listened differently, because everything she said, I understood for her. I understood that she got married at a young age. I understood she had me when she was just a teenager. I understood that she hadn't really grown up and she made mistakes. And I realized that God had just downloaded the Holy Spirit into my heart that overnight, because I heard her differently. And I literally forgave her that very night. And it wasn't easy, but it wasn't easy to forgive her, but it was easy to make that choice to forgive her. And so I knew that I owed him a big one for that one till now. When it comes to fashion, I'm inspired by my mom. She totally taught me how to not think about what anybody criticizes, not think about the negativity, but be true to myself and make sure that whatever I'm saying through my clothes celebrates the situation around me. So that's why I love fashion, because of my mom. When it comes to amazing, heroic people in life, I think about Nick Vujicic. He's an unbelievable survivor, just through so much that he's gone through in his life, and he's also a quadriplegic, and he goes around the world just talking about his faith and how much he loves anybody out there who is able to see God through circumstances, and he's the perfect person to talk about that. So he's amazing. I would have to say Jesus is an amazing hero of mine. I always look to him to see how he makes it through his thought process in work, in friendships, in family, in his own, faith. And he's a big, inspiring person to me. So those are my 3 little fun favorite heroes there. My favorite person to style and work with would have to be Alicia Keys. She started me out early in my career where I could travel on tour and be with her. And as a very spiritual person herself, she really maintained an aura of just respect and dignity and servanthood, even with people who were serving her all day. And I loved that. Like, I felt like it was such a like it was rewarding to work, you know, for her, even though it would be really long working days, nights that we weren't sleeping, a tour bus that was like completely cramped. But I loved it because she was so thankful, and she was using her platform as an artist to provide so much jobs and so much opportunity for everybody else. My mom got me into fashion because she taught me to really stand out and to make sure that people knew what my message was or who I am through the way that I dressed. And I grew up in a 16 family household with just 3 bedrooms, so it was very tight and cramped. So I really learned how to make the most of my resources, how to get creative with, you know, borrowing and altering clothes to make it my own. And I also really learned how to stand out and then also help others to stand out too, because we're all different, and so there's no competition. Well, I moved to LA about, I think, 6 years ago. I keep saying that, but it might be 7 years. But I moved here to LA and immediately got swept up into like the limelight of the city. It's really fast paced. There's pretty much 90% of people who move to LA to take from other people. So you get a city that's a little jaded, a little bitter and broken down. But I realized that if I didn't have some place to kind of reset and refuel myself, then I was going to get boggled down under that too with building a career to become a television host. So I found out about Runyon Canyon. I started hiking it every day, pretty much. That's what happens when you don't have a job. You hike every day. So I would hike up to Runyon Canyon, or up to the top, and I noticed that, like, it really sucks sometimes when you're hiking, you know, like you're really tired. Some days you don't feel like it. Some days you actually feel like you can only go halfway because, you know, and I was really out of shape back then. But if you really push yourself and you keep going, you always make it to the top. And every time, even till today, 7 years later, when you make it to the top, you always feel amazing and accomplished. So I thought, you know what if I put a box here that reminded other people to just take a moment to just pray. Pray for somebody else, pray for yourself, but pray that they make it through the things that challenge them, just like this hill does. Because if you push it and you support and get encouragement, you'll always make it, you know? So I put a small little shoebox on the prayer box. Or I'm sorry, I put a small little shoebox on the top of the hill. And within a couple of weeks, there were hundreds of prayers in the box. And I didn't think there was going to be many at all. I think I put like a little stack of paper, like maybe 10 sheets and 1 pen, and it was gone within a couple of days. So I found that I had to come back to the box and constantly refill it. And I would get all these prayers of like little kids praying for their parents, to a lot of people praying for their families and their careers, prayers in different languages like Chinese, Hebrew. I've even gotten prayers in Spanish. So the prayer box today has grown to a much larger size. It's prayer box 4.0. It's cemented at the top of the hill, and it's filled with hundreds of prayers. I even have a lot of them here on my dressing room wall. But it just encourages me to have faith and remember to pray it forward for other people. First of all, nothing embarrassing ever happens to me because I'm perfect, because Jesus said so. But fine, if I had to pick something embarrassing, just recently, I ran into, like, okay, on set, I'm very comfortable. Like, it's our home. We're here like more than we see our families and our husbands. So I get really comfortable. I walk in here with my like disgusting camo pajamas because my husband's a hunter, and sometimes I'm wearing like underwear and you'll see it showing because I have my like just things undone everywhere. Anyway, I'm really comfortable. And my crew knows it because they're like my family, and so I'm like a kid sister to them. Well, one day I was wearing high-waisted pants and they were really hot and really tight, but it was lunchtime and I love to eat, so I unbuttoned them and I rolled them below my belly so that you could just, it was my underwear and my stomach could breathe, so I could go and eat the enchiladas we were having or whatever. So I went out there and I was eating the food and everything, and in walked a whole line of all of these people that I've never met before. And I just kind of looked at them, and I was in lunch mode, so I didn't think anything, and I just like shoveled my mouth and I asked them to move, and I went past them and I went to my room. Come to realize they were a whole line of interns that were fans from the network, and they had all come in to go and say hello to me, and every single one of them had seen me with my, like, Jeannie Mai, their style icon, the host of the show, that they had all been so excited to save and reserve their day to come onto this show to see me, and I had walked by them with my pants all around my belly, my chonies hanging out. That was embarrassing.